Title card: The Dyatlov Pass Mystery, a history of snow, silence, and unanswered questions. The winter of 1959 began like many winters in the Ural Mountains, cold enough to sting the skin, quiet enough to make every sound feel amplified. For a group of experienced hikers, the landscape was not an enemy. It was a test of planning, endurance, and judgment. They belonged to a world where the mountains were both workplace and proving ground, where a route could be mapped, gear could be weighed, and risk could be respected rather than feared. And yet, when their journey ended in tragedy at Dyatlov Pass, the facts left behind did not settle into a simple story. They scattered into fragments, traces in snow, injuries that were hard to reconcile, and a pattern of choices that seemed to defy the logic of ordinary accident. The incident quickly became more than a regional event. It became a mystery, one that still draws investigators, historians, and curious viewers decades later. This is not a tale meant to satisfy fantasy. It is a gripping history, grounded in what was known, where uncertainty begins, and why some questions refuse to die. 1. Who were the people behind the mystery? In early February 1959, 9 young men and 1 woman, though the woman is often absent from simplified retellings, set out on a ski expedition in Sverdlovsk Oblast, in present-day Russia. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, was not a novice. He had experience in mountain travel and a reputation for discipline. The group included teammates with varying specialties, but they shared a common skill set. They could navigate, endure, and adapt when the weather changed. These were not reckless tourists. They had practiced in snow, used equipment meant for serious conditions, and operated with a team mentality. In such contexts, adventure is not a synonym for carelessness. In fact, the expedition's structure suggests careful intention. Routes were planned, roles were assigned, and time estimates were set. So when they failed to return, it was not instantly interpreted as an accident. It was interpreted as a problem, one that could be solved by finding them. The first search parties looked for signs of progress. Tracks in snow, signs of a camp, the kind of evidence that would allow a missing group to be traced like a thread. But what they found did not behave like a straightforward trail. 2. The route and the weather, a landscape that changes slowly, then suddenly. The Ural winter is known for its harsh consistency, biting temperatures, wind that can cut through layers, and snowfall that can conceal what should remain visible. However, consistency can be deceptive. A stable forecast can still hide dangerous microclimates. In mountains, weather does not always arrive like a headline. It arrives like a quiet shift in pressure, felt before it is fully understood. During their expedition, the group planned to pass through Dyatlov Pass, a mountain saddle that could be crossed in winter with the right preparation. But winter travel depends on more than ability. It depends on the predictability of the environment. Even well-prepared parties can be trapped by a sudden storm or by a condition that makes the terrain unforgiving at precisely the wrong moment. What makes the case so compelling is that the group's final days appear to contain both human choices and environmental pressure. The mystery does not rest solely on the presence of snow. It rests on how the snow seems to record decisions that do not entirely match what investigators expected to see in a single, closed-loop event. 3. The moment everything broke. Why the evidence matters. When investigators eventually reached the area where the hikers' bodies were found, they uncovered a sequence of details that seemed contradictory. The clothing worn, the positions of remains, the pattern of damage, these were the first clues. But clarity did not emerge. Instead, the evidence created a set of questions that multiplied. For example, some of the hikers left their tent in a way that suggested urgency. When a team escapes from a danger, the escape usually has a logic. Gather warmth, organize movement, preserve breathing space, and move toward a safer location. In this case, the evidence pointed to an abrupt departure, one that seemed to override the normal process of assessing conditions inside a camp. The tent itself became a focal point. A tent is a home for the night, a barrier against wind, a structure that represents a calculated risk. In the Dyatlov Pass incident, the tent's condition did not simply indicate camp failure. It appeared to imply a breakdown in expectations. Something had forced the group to act in a hurry, possibly before they fully understood what was happening. And then there was the snow around them. tracks that were not just marks of movement, but marks of timing and direction. Snow can preserve evidence, but it can also mislead. In winter, the same weather that preserves can also obscure. A trail can remain visible while deeper details are erased. That ambiguity became part of the mystery itself. 4. The discovery. Searchers find a story without words. As search efforts expanded, teams located the bodies in different areas rather than in a single unified camp collapse. This arrangement encouraged a particular kind of reasoning. If everyone had stayed together until the end, the distribution might have reflected that unity. Instead, it suggested divergence, choices that separated people into different outcomes. Investigators also noticed injuries that complicated simple explanations. Some injuries appeared consistent with blunt trauma, while others appeared to reflect exposure or the consequences of delayed recovery. The combination of physical damage and the harsh realities of altitude, wind, and cold made it difficult to determine whether the primary cause was environmental, mechanical, or both. There were also clues related to the hiker's behavior. In mystery cases, behavior is as significant as anatomy because it tells whether a person acted calmly or acted under pressure. The hiker's actions, leaving the tent, moving away from shelter, and the manner in which they were later found, created a psychological timeline. That timeline did not clearly match the most common accident scenarios. It is one thing to lose people to weather. It is another to see a group act as if they have to get out immediately without carrying the normal supplies of survival. Chapter 5. The main theories: how uncertainty becomes an industry. When a case defies easy closure, theories multiply. People reach for familiar patterns: avalanches, equipment failures, air or wind conditions, and when evidence resists those explanations, more speculative ideas. Avalanche or snow collapse. One prominent theory suggests that a small avalanche or localized snow movement could have damaged the camp or created a sudden threat. Avalanches can occur in parts of terrain that appear stable when seen from a distance.